She wants the guy who will be the one that holds himself to high standards, and that is a little tough to get. Also, being mysterious means briefly going away, that you don't want to go away for too long, but go away long enough that it makes you wonder what you're doing if you are a guy. If you are a man that comes from having self-worth, takes pride in and feels good about who cares about you and honors you, you will find a woman who treats you well. I'm going to give you some important tools as a woman myself and tell her the truth. Now, I want you to understand how to make a woman think about you. Non-stop is based on how you feel about yourself and the feelings that you can make it happen. Hello, my name is Atlanta Puente, and I am the founder of dating and relationship coach. Visit apolloniafanthy.com. I'm ready to start now, women. People want to feel like they're being heard, as much as you guys before. Before we start, I'd like to say something here. It's very important that you know that a woman, when she's into, you should always give something back. Simply put, if this woman is giving you, have reasons not to reciprocate hot, and this BS is cold and being shot. I want to know why you're trying to get this woman to like you, since there are so many other. Some women are ready to take the bull by the horns and see you as a good man that worked, because I know you have seen this video on my channel, is sure of himself and knows how valuable he is. He thinks a woman is worth it, so he is proud of herself enough to know that if a woman doesn't treat him with respect, see value in him, then it's just like, let me move, right? So when you come in this, when you think about it, it makes you a better. I talk because I'm a good speaker. First about this, because you think of me when you come in. You don't want to sound like you don't care. Because you care, I want you to, but it's more of you need to be in the frame of mind of getting to know the person in front of you before you open up and see that both of you want the same thing. It takes time, the right way to talk to women and tell you what to do when it comes to women on a woman's person. A woman's point of view is that women want guys to start things. I am going to tell you the truth. I want to be clear about one thing though. When you meet them, yes, I wish you could trust me. Women would go up to guys and start things here and there, and I know some women who do. I also watch other stations. More than likely, you've seen me, and I talk with coaches who work with women about this, on being honest about the programs that they need for them to do this, if they want to find a good man to love. But I don't want to go on and on. Having said that, what I mean is, in the beginning, they only want you to start. You need to set up the date. They might want you to get in touch. Send them a text after you meet them, but she will always answer. Okay, so this is what I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, even though there's a chance you're starting up. You don't keep starting if you've already. This woman was never heard from if she doesn't text me back, or it was hot and cold, and then after 2 days of nothing, send you a message saying, hey, how are you? You ask her out again, and she says yes. She never answers, she just stays out of the question. Or she doesn't give you a reason like, listen, I've been on the road for work. I've been very busy, but I'd love to see we could plan something for next week. This is the beginning. This is the deal. Okay, so what are you not going to do? Continues to start if a woman is not giving you time and worth that you deserve, but what you think to do at the start is start. Ask people out on a date slowly but surely. Set up some things here and there, which I've talked about in a lot of films. After you do this, tricks to help you talk to people better with a girl is, I guess, by being a little bit of firm. And just because you're being strong doesn't mean you tell the woman what to do. In other words, just say, hey, I am going to give you an instance. Let's have dinner together on Friday at 7 p.m. Are you free? That was just being honest. To the point, no, I'm not free. Okay, so please let me know when you have time this weekend, any time that works for you, and I'll try it out and see what works best for me. To get to the point, I always tell men, if you want your text to mean something, if you can't answer the phone, don't call. We don't always pick up the phone and call because we're busy. We're likely trying to set the date. Who knows? I always say that though, which brings me to, this is the next tip: calling a woman on the phone. This is important for men to understand what women want to be on the phone with you, and women will indirect or direct lead you in the right direction. As an example, there is a woman who will say, a man who likes to listen. I don't like getting on the phone. If possible, I'd rather just text here. Okay, that's great. Now you know that she's already done. That's yours, a sign that she doesn't want you to call her right. But if you like this woman and she likes it when you call her, talk to her and listen. You can ask her questions. There's a guide that I put together, the 20-question guide to find out who a woman is, and I'll forgive you. Put it in the link below the description. Get that free guide here. Because those are the questions that can really start a chat with a woman, and you get it. That's why it's got to know her. These are not surface traits of her true self. These are deep-level questions. I want you to ask questions. Question these things since you've been seeing this woman. Not the first date, but more like the third date on the fourth when you're nice of growing closer to each other. Third tip on how to talk to women is being a leader in some way, okay? The way when it comes to seeing something or she says something that was rude or something you didn't like. If you question it, this is important. This video doesn't teach you anything. Number 3. The most important thing is if you see something, men, that this woman might be out after hours or I don't know, after work or something. There's a lot of things are coming through my head, but this is what I mean. If you see a red flag, ask it. Question here purpose, because that's what we normally do as men, and I mean that in a way. But what guys usually do is why they're so interested in this woman is ideal, but I want to know why she is ideal. She's pretty though. I know she has a lot of value in her. I know this, but the woman has to be able to see how valuable she is. She also needs to be able to give you something. What is this woman going to be able to do? To give you in your life, you got to think about it this way. How can she give me something as much as you can? Give her something. That's why I say it takes let's dance here. If you are a guy, if you are a man with comes from having self-worth, takes pride in and feels good about who cares about you and honors you, you will find a woman who treats you well. But this is where things get tricky. These are the women you'll date. Don't want the same thing or not want it, as confident in themselves and are taking care of things you. That's why it's so important that they make you question their plan to understand that. Take a listen and say yes or no to this. That tells me a lot about who you are. I won't stand for this. Either you don't do this or you do it. No longer, or if you think it's okay. If you keep doing it, we're not a match. This is very important since that you're a boss proves you're coming from a place of you're proud and putting yourself first. Being polite to her by telling her because it's not okay. Because of the one reason it might have been, there's something rude about it, or it might not be the best idea to do that. And the fourth tip is to make a mental link, and this is why it's important that you connect with someone on a personal level. Woman, to make sure that's not only fun, you might be interested in this link. Raise the mystery, but you're also getting to know her on a much higher level. The important thing is that she's willing to listen. You don't have to agree with this. Get her to come with you. It just flows easily, and things take place. I'm going to go into how to make a woman like you non-stop, and this is how you're going to set yourself apart from other guys. I'm going to give you some keys out there. Tools as a woman, and talk about some telling you the truth. Now I want you to understand how to make a woman think about you is based on how you feel about yourself and the feelings that you can make it happen. So what are the exact feelings that you need to give you what you may be asking for right now? So I am going to show you that. I want you to use one key tool. Understand how to talk to people with feeling, not the Hollywood story meaning of feeling. Have you ever thought about getting a girl like you before? And I love your brown hair so much, and I want to just be and hop into the land of make-believe getting together with you. That's not what we want, okay? That we want to feel if we want to have an uneven roller mood swing of feelings. What does that mean? You're going to play with toys, throw it to the side because of how she feels, and play games? No way. What I say, and the reason I'm bringing these. There are two things up because there are a lot of them. There is a lot of information that will tell you to do this, and this isn't. You'll get a nervous person. Woman, if you do that, but if you want to find a high-value, hot, beautiful, no matter what you want. This is how you do it in a good way. To your relationships, so know that your how we talk has to be based on feel. What in this case, you can share something with her and you can share a funny thing, like for instance, my brother. We went to my house when he was young, at his boyfriend's house, and he tried to hit my boyfriend. So I wanted to get back to them the next day. I used to cook for him every morning. Served him breakfast and I gave him a lot of laxatives. Drink that when he got in the car. Say what you want. I got even with this because it wasn't pretty. Is like a story and can also be a little funny and also like, oh my God. This girls, I know it sounds a little crazy, but then you can still bring some light into, then say, but my brother was a great person and still is, and he taught me so. So, do you see how we're bringing the funny part and I'll use myself as an example so you can tell your own story or anything else you want. Do that. I'm adding some humor to the part of in this talk, so that's a feeling I'm bringing love. Getting that I'm bringing in another, the ability to feel. It's like what I like, and that's another feeling that isn't. That's funny. Desire kindness, right? Then I could be sharing a story about you guys know how to tell a story, right? Of, say I had a client who did this so well, and he talked about how he's always been a brother who loves his sister, but also how he would annoy her and such things. He went from being funny coming to love, but also to make her question also something. It makes us feel a lot of different things. I'm going to go a little ways from here. Read more into this, but know that you're what people say shouldn't be same thing, and that looks like you. Having faith in her, you're letting her choose what to say. You're not giving something about you that could be funny with a point and bringing up that an emotional part into a talk with a woman. A lot of men end up in the friend zone because the truth that they're not moving forward with they're stuck with their feeling stories. They're not moving because they're afraid. About how they're afraid that if they share the risk that they're going to look weak. But let me tell you about stories being told is not a weakness. If you're coming from it with plenty telling stories and praising women are from lack of something or doubt is in the wrong place when you come from that part of. So let me share a tip before we start. The second is when you do this, and you're feeling the same way I am, telling stories about the good and bad times and make fun of her, the joking around with her and maybe even calling her a name or having a personal story about love that is funny and then maybe sadness, right? Like something you've been through before if you were in the army or something like that. Being aware that your feelings need to be thrived on a chat, when you know that your feelings need to have grown from a talk, you too know that you need to make her. I talk because I feel different. About that ride on a roller coaster, share little things now and then funny, but then maybe talk about something inspiring your life and how you got there and what drove you to start a business that makes 5 figures or no matter what the case is. Now for tip number 3, the personal side of how this story you are going to talk to a woman to make her think about you all the time. Is that you also understand the talks that you should have and why, but now we need to know what your feelings are when your voice. I don't want you guys to think about this right now. I see this a lot, so why do we make this so hard? Having to do all of this for women that it's not even about women about telling a story at all. As soon as I walk out on stage to give a what should I do in my speech to make my audience pay attention? Feel something. What am I going to do with you? How am I able to feel that way? Because check out my voice right now. I'm stronger now than I was before. Almost a minute ago, right? I'm talking about this exact thing. I've already said this in my other video. When things get worse between us, I talk about this on how to get more direct with women when you say something like when the time is right. Sexual hints, of course, when you begin to accept that. Into the getting together, you want to speak with all your heart, but also happiness. Yes, and then you want to talk to peace and then things will return to normal. Yes, there are a lot of different feelings that you're giving this woman. I want you to see it as in the chance you're giving her. It's about the experience because the fact that we are feeling a lot of different things when we tell the stories when we talk with her. At the same time, we're changing our voice tone, so when we change our voice in the bathroom, pay attention now. We start to move toward that woman, coming toward us, and we start to feel better. The cool group, and then you talk about something you want, that you care about, and you start making fun of her because she's happy, and you make people laugh, and you make her feel a lot of things. This is very important for making that part. The fact that many men miss guys, I want to break this because of this down for you in this video. The next tip is to give her like a roller coaster. All of these are tips I want you to follow. To start going on dates with girls, I'll show you the roller coaster effect now. I'd call this in the black book and get they call business and things like this. It right, but this isn't what I'm interested in about because I don't want to either. It's not okay for you to put women down. There's no way to get good women this way. To get women to answer you in a good way. But I'm gonna tell you, do you have something right now? As a lady, I want you to know that I'm telling you the truth here and I know what tools I'm giving you. We're going to work with women right now. But there isn't an important part of the roller coaster action that's the same thing as calling them in business as nagging. And what I want you to do to understand is, not everyone picks up all the time. Painters, because there are some great ones there that I work with, but they are going to go all the way and make fun of a girl to the fullest very high how she feels about herself, and she feels very sad about herself. Then they give them a high with a thank you. And yes, it does draw a woman in, but that can be very rude and offensive. Besides that, it doesn't bring honor. The honesty you have in yourself is I'm going to give you a personal the case of what took place when my fiancé and I went on our second date, and I still remember it today, because it makes me mad and I am going to tell you the truth. As a woman, you guys, this is what I mean by roller, feels like a roller coaster. The guy likes you. Each other, he's giving you feelings through the stories. He tells all of these things I'm talking about these tips. Then my example of the like a roller coaster on my second date with the man I now marry, I like him. I'm after him. I asked him a question, and these are the only ones that women often ask when they start to finally kind of like, you show interest in you, and I ask them, so what kind of woman do you? You like what draws you in most of the time. What look usually draws you in? And the first, what he says is blue eyes and light hair, long the exact opposite of what I have, so what do? I go into, oh my God, does he like me? Oh my, I like him, what the hell? Oh my, I want to be blonde and have blue eyes. God, what the hell is he doing? A date with me? Then things start to go crazy. He tells me and he gives me a praise, but you're not being nice. When someone says nice things about how I look, something I've worked for, and it's about being honest and how I think of myself as a woman. He tells me right after that, he goes, but with you I like you because of how you act. You think of yourself as a woman. That right there, guys, is the putting the cherry on top, because he told me they liked something I had to do the job for. It looks like you have to work for it. But sometimes, good looks just happen. So how do you get to the heart of a woman? Does these things, which are also made and called banter. Okay, that works well, in which I talk about in my cheat video how to get caught sheet, and I talk about this chit chat. Impact on another cool that I have a lot of my guys' clients do when they first start creating this idea, is what I have them say right away when they're getting interested, and she can see that she's answering him and she likes him, and he just sits back and says, you're not the girl I thought you were. And the girl would be like, what the F? What does that even mean? What was the woman you thought I was? And then we prove things and then move on to qualifying. I talk a lot about this in that a cheat sheet. In the next part, we ask you to, what do you mean? Who are you, seeing or hearing? Every woman will say that. What do you mean when you talk? What kind of girl did you think I was? Something like that. And then you sit down. Say, don't worry again. That's good. And then she is assured again. You're qualifying her again. It's known as the roller coaster impact. What we do, and men lose draw, and they don't go on their own second or third date, or ask a woman to be interested in him. Are we going to keep going in this loop? Because then we're not. Sending feelings that we're not sending link, and I made a movie about it. Making eye contact is a way to connect, and I am going to put in the cards, and I want you to see this. Now for the next tip, watch this movie first. When you're done with the roller coaster, is clear in your mind that what women really okay, what I want is a challenge. We want the man who will be the one that holds himself to high standards, and that is a little tough. Not that I think you're going to get to have fun and play games with her. It's hard to get you, but you'll come. She'll know from honesty that you have rules, and she'll keep trying to meet your needs for you, because you take care of things, and you show her you're a good guy, and you give her that room to see what you can give. And the women who don't see this, When you do what the techniques that, this is what I mean, these women are likely to be insecure, not stable enough yet, blah, blah, blah. And that's when you say goodbye. And that's not where you let this happen. Things take place to you. Women are not allowed to be in the way. How you feel, and you start how to control women, and when to start getting good at and understanding there are women in the quote-unquote game. But in reality, it's IQ and EQ, and it's all about understanding why we do what we do. Think about making that moment happen, so you could be the guy we start to think about never ending. And the next tip is, a lot of people will say, tell women that you just want to be her friend. Okay, so I'll say this in my friend's own words. The item, of course, you friend zone a woman when she friend zones you. Because there are men out there, I believe that what I've heard from my people who say you should friend zone always a woman, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're seeing a woman who is want to be in a relationship and that is wants something and is coming from pride in oneself and has a lot of the feeling of self-worth for herself, the very sure of herself woman, but also the high good woman who treats men with respect, that's the woman we want. But when you don't put her in the friend zone, being able to truly believe in you, and she might not want to spend time with you or her time with you, which is why I say this, not a good effect, because that you need to say this in another way. You don't block her friends, but what you do is more of, I'm having fun getting to know you. I want to find something with you and what's next, and let us check to see if that's you. Now that you're ready for the task, let's do it. Check to see if you can pass that task and make it a little harder. A little more fun where it's not. So if you're looking for a R in a relationship, or you know you're just, would you like to be her friend? Because then you're having fun at this point and it's not going to happen. Make her work hard and make you a that we face, and this is how we plan to do it. You want her to see you. This is what women begin to think about you and make that wish come true and only think about you guy out there, which brings me to the next right now tip, the challenge effect. Look at this woman. You're dating as possible, but you need to see her as, but you're not sure if she meets your wants and is worth or possible challenge accepted. This sounds like this in your language, how you talk to her when you're not on the second date, and oh my gosh, you said no. Another woman I've been with before. On your second date, how do you know that? You have no idea, that's what I'm saying. Where we kill is where we talk about an attraction, since you're not bringing the, what does the challenge affect? Time and knowing what she stands for. I understand yours, and then finally when you get to that, remember when you come to an, if you understand, then love gets, it gets harder to attract people when we jump and don't keep up with the pace. And finally, nice things to say about a woman are fine. A lot of people will telling a woman nice things. I'm going to be honest with you. We'll never get tired of being praised, and that comes from a woman herself. But telling a woman nice things from a many things, as a man, has more of an effect on women in general, but making a woman look better because she lacks or lack of, and between your proved way of thinking, you're trying to show your worth to a woman. When it comes from that energy, it's not okay from a woman, because if we decide to give a woman compliments, I want you to think about it this way. In this video, I showed you what I mean, about what took place with me, but he added to something I've worked on also. I'd like you guys to praise a woman, but not just on her butt or her breast. Or do you already know how pretty she is in this? Wear a red tight dress if you want to touch her emotionally in that way. Praise her for something you see. I know she's worked for. You know, there are women out there who will talk about their lives and praise her for that story. That's where you hit home, and where you will act like a guy that she can't be. Now stop thinking about a personal link doesn't mean that you get too upset and talk about your deepest wants. Early on, the personal link means that you demonstrate telling her that you were the one that she wants you to spend time with her. Draws people into very important phase. Have fun and relax this time. It's well known that this video will be more about what to do to keep her thinking about you when you get to that point of having fun together. You want her to think about you now. Even more. First tip, don't be obvious. This is the most important one. You want to display in the difference, so she knows she still has to draw you in, that she needs to still do some work to get it. This means that if you text her good morning or every night good night, then don't do it as much and see if this is what she does first. Also, don't answer her text message too soon. Make her get ready to see your name. Tip number 2 that pops up on her phone is to be a mystery. Let her wonder what you're up to, don't you? Post almost everything you do every 1 second on Facebook or Instagram, like who you're going out to eat with, have dinner with, where you are for a happy hour instead. Post less if you're already on internet sites. Also, being unknown means only for a short time. Going away. You don't want to go away for too long, but go away long enough that it makes you wonder what you are doing. So if it takes you a whole day to answer her texts in the morning, and then you text her at night, I'll come back and say I've been so busy today. I hope you had a great day. To bed, because tomorrow will be a long day. Good night, and I'll talk to you soon. This message tells her women love it when guys don't put them first. They can see that you love your life, and it looks stable, which makes me into tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to this several times, not just once, but there are some date coaches who will tell you to not be seen for 3 days, or 3, 4, or even 5 days. But let's be honest, is this woman she likes and has her pick? They won't turn her on. This is because it seems too shady. You only need to pop in and out, but on your terms because you're busy one. Do this for 3 days at a time. You start talking to people again. What is she going to think? What are you doing, she might ask. Think of, does he have another girlfriend? Who is he? Doing that, he cares so much about that he doesn't want to talk to me. This is different from many other guys and what they're does right now. Keep in mind that you want to be less reliable. At this time, which makes her better desire for you? I mean, most of when this girl might even say, when am I going to see you again? You get in touch with her again once more, and this is where you want her to go. The 4th tip is to make plans. After being busy, so let me explain what I mean. You want to come in once in a while, but don't be too much. Pay close attention during these 3 or 4 days time, that is, not answering her texts very often, not answering to her messages a lot, and having a turn her off. Tip number 4. Because you're busy making plans after being busy, when you get back in touch with her, just tell her you've been busy with work, but also pay attention. She talks about what she's been doing too, and not always about you. You don't want to give her a full answer. Doubts, because it makes her seem more mysterious. After you do this, plan to do something with at some point and not right away. Why the time that goes by will make her look forward to seeing you again. That time is very important to the draw phase. Say, hey, I'm busy the next 2 days, but take some time off Friday night. Would you like to have a drink around 7? I tell all of my clients to do this. Since you don't want to turn into that friend text messaging, do not use too many words in your text messages. Straight to the point. Most of the time it ends with not making yourself. We'll give her enough time since she's free to miss you and would like to see you again. This is how you stay in her mind if a woman is taking turns. If any of these things are true, she might not be interested. If you want to see more great things that will make your life better and for more on dating and relationships, read this video over here. This was made just for you.